can understand you, and it's very hard to hear. So I'm sorry about that. Can we? Yeah. Thank you. And okay then, Adelina. No, si ya quieren pasar para. No, todos vamos a pasar y todos se sientan ya. Anton and Lucino also. So, just to give you a little bit of introduction on, what this is going to be about, I'll take you back, 1 year in history, which is just 1 year ahead. So in 2013, in the summer of 2013, the Senate passed, a bill that would, essentially give you, access to, legal status in the United States to, 11 million undocumented immigrants. As a result of this, we all felt, like very, very happy. We felt, that we were accomplishing something, and that, we were almost there. Immigration reform was going to happen in 2013. And unfortunately, because of, different, political maneuverings and political, actions, on the House of Representatives currently controlled by Republicans, this, project, to become law hasn't, gotten to the president's office. So that's where we are right now, and that's where we're here, What has come, as a result of not having immigration reform? And, one thing that has happened is, campaigns, national campaigns, and communities rising up to resist, detention and to resist deportation. I'm sure, many of you, and I think that all of us, have seen, families, students affected by not having, a pathway to legal status. And that's what we're here today, to share our stories and, to have these amazing leaders and community members tell us, how they, been part of the different campaigns and, how we can become and get involved to change our communities and to help our communities, to protect our families and to keep them together. After all, we know that that the United States is a country of immigrants, and when I say that, I truly believe it. Those who came way before us were the ones that built the American which we live in, and people like you, hardworking people, men and women of faith, and people that want to contribute to this state and to this nation, should be able to have a legal path to legal status. And that's what those campaigns, are hoping to accomplish. But it is with your help, that is going to happen. With students, with community members, with organizers, with activists. That's how things happen. And now, I just want to introduce Adelina. I know that all of us know Adelina. I hope, at least, she's been, a huge, inspiration for me, because as an immigrant, as someone that, works with, just regular people, normal people like us, she's been able to accomplish so much for so many. And she's, an amazing person, and I just want her to tell you, how and on what she's working currently, and how you can be a part of it. I want her to tell you that who is here for you, and how you can help yourself. How can you defend yourself, and how you can be better able to help your community. So I'm going to pass it on to Adelina. She's going to speak about.
Hello, how are you? Good afternoon. I thought that I was going to be the last. Anyway, yes, we have been now for more than 10 years working inside our immigrant communities. immigrant groups that have been trying to get immigration reform since I remember that we started strong. The beginning was the driver's license. I don't know those of you that remember in 2000 and 2001, first March. And then we were not able, since we were not able to get any documents driver's license for our community, we decided to continue the struggle of going to educating our community. And at this point, we have 18 groups in South and Central Georgia, some are in the north. They called Comités Populares, the ones with the model that we decided to go along with because give us the opportunity to provide the leadership trainings for our community, but as well to our members be the ones to do the change, or to mobilize, or to do whatever is necessary for them to defend themselves in the case of any violation of human rights, civil rights, consumer rights, labor rights. At this point, for more than 10 years, we joined this campaign more than 2 years ago. The one we already know is No One More, meaning that no one more deportation. And last year in particular, we have these two venues that we consider that were important. One is the venue getting immigration reform, and the second one, the parallel, was the No One More campaign. The target in the No One More campaign was President Obama. And we decided to go in these two venues at the beginning of the year because after the presentation of the bill SB 744, we kind of studied that bill, and we noticed that more than probably around 4 million people or 5 million people were going to be left out of the bill if the bill was passed. And we thought that was going to be a big problem for our community. We will be facing the same issues as today. The bill SB 744 deals with deportations, and we were at that time really concerned about that. But we also saw the alternative to target President Barack Obama asking and now demanding him an executive order that stop deportations, but at the same time to provide administrative relief for our community while immigration reform gets together with all the politicians and legislators, and after the as we see that now the SB 744 didn't go far, it's stopped someplace around there. The lack of willingness from the Republican Party, from the House of Representatives didn't help that. But at the same time, there were the movement, a national movement of Latinos were SB 744. We saw that bill in some part of inside of us was better if it like disappear because of the contents of the bill. But we continue with this campaign, the No One More campaign. If you saw last year, one of the first events or activities very strong that we had that in collaboration with Song and Project South was the first civil disobedience. We locked ourselves to the ICE building in Spring Street. 3 doors were locked, and most of them, 11 people, participated, 15 persons, so 11 of them were undocumented, and they were arrested, but later on, around 7:30 at night time, they were released. To this day, we haven't received any ticket or a court appearance so far, and we continue trying to provide to our community the necessary spaces for them to like to find like how to release this desperation, this fear, and then we start to going to Arizona and go to Washington, trying to get together with different groups, joining more people, the campaign, the No One More campaign. And now we are about to leave to Washington, D.C. We will be leaving on Monday. It's going to be Semana de Desobedience, but also we are going to join the hunger strike that is in front of the White House, that our friends, family members that are undocumented are going to be participating, but as well, there's a lot of organizations that will be joining these May 1st, and will have a huge civil disobedience at the White House. And I want to be back, but basically the No One More campaign is to request President Barack Obama an executive order, or for administrative relief to all undocumented immigrants here in the United States, but as well to grow the concept of the deferred action, so the more of our community members can fit into this kind of administrative relief. But at the same time, we are pushing for the stop deportation. As well, you know, we are about to reach 2 million people that have been processed for deportation since 2009. And with that, many of you know the pain and sorrow. Families are being separated. Children sometimes are left behind because the mother and the father has been deported. And as well, besides the racial profiling that we are facing every single day, the police harassment in different towns around the state. And we just got some preliminary results from a FOIA that was filed last year. And we filed a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security asking and requesting for this information. To our surprise, one of the counties that we thought was a friendly county, which is the Cobb County, it is one of the, it has the first place of people arrested, made, and people being processed for deportation. Even more than the Gwinnett or Cobb. And we will be providing all that facts and information later on. And another information that we got from that is that they were made approximately, they were issued 54,000 detainers in the state. But as well, more than 74,000 people was arrested. That's an issue for us. And in that county is the first case in the region. We are asking, we already request a meeting with the chief of police. We already, the comités populares with different cities have been uniting with the chief of the county jails, looking for them to opt out of the secure communities program, trying to push a little bit for them to stop chasing our community. It is for many of you that live this situation every single day, it's not an easy way to live. And it's not simple like that. It's not a way to live. And thank God that No One More campaign is growing. It's coming from the grassroots. People being affected directly are the ones moving the boat or rocking the boat, which is that provides well that the movement is getting very, very strong. to the point, to the extreme that many of the nationals pushing for immigration reform until this date are moving towards to the no one more campaign. We think that in the following days, following weeks, is coming perhaps a decision made by President Barack Obama in regards to administrative relief. We don't know how deep, how important, how many people is going to benefit. We don't know. But the announcement is, I think for us, even if the announcement come out, is that we need to continue to push for more. We received kind of a message last year, not this year, it was in February, that if we wanted administrative relief a little bit before the elections, or what we wanted some bigger after the election. Our answer was we want bigger before the election. We want to raise the standards because we as leaders they do nothing, you know. And but for us it's a great honor to be participating on this campaign. And more, there are many people that have joined us for years now participating very actively in the No One More campaign, hoping President Barack Obama listen and change these policies that are affecting millions of families and immigrant families right now.
Well, I just want to remark some things, you know. So the No One More campaign was as a result of the frustration and, you know, the concern that, you know, thousands of families were being reported every day. And, you know, thousands of kids were being placed in foster care. And, you know, countless of families were broken apart. So that's where, you know, the No One More deportation came from. And, you know, Georgia has played a big role on that. You know, Georgia, thanks to the communities, you know, that are being affected, like Adelina said, it is the communities who are leading the fight. It is the communities who want to bring relief to their families, and that's, you know, that tells a lot. It's not the politicians. It is not, you know, some hero that comes to save these families. They themselves have listen up to the families, and I, you know, that's something that I admire very much, and just to, you know, go back and understand, you know, some of the policies that, you know, are causing, you know, this massive deportations. It's one of them is 287G, and 287G is currently in Georgia and is being used, you know, through the local authorities to detain and to later deport innocent people that had, you know, no license, people that skipped the stop sign, people that, you know, were literally jaywalking and they were later deported because of that. You know, that's a very real issue. And, can you tell us more about 287G and how it affects, you know, our community?
The 287G is a federal program that train the local police, the local police in jail, to be the times as ICE agent. That means that if you are detained in Bob, in Gwinnett, in Paul, or Whitfield, and if you are undocumented, probably you are going to be interviewed by a police officer that is at the same time the ICE agent. And they are the ones to decide if you are staying or if you are going to be processed for deportation. We have 4 counties, but also we have the Secure Communities Program in 59 counties in the state of Georgia that were implemented since December 2011. That means that if you are detained while you're driving, you don't have driver's license, you will be arrested and then you will be fingerprinted. And all this information is going to be crossed into different databases like FBI, ICE, and you name it. And if you owe something, you didn't show up to court 10 years ago, you committed 10 years ago a DUI, or you have a shoplifting, or something happened in your life before, you will be processed for deportation. That's one of the big issues here. But also we have the HB87. You all know, many of you were participants against that, the HB87 against, like, show me your papers bill. But at the same time, we have the SB350 that passed on July 2008 that says that if you are undocumented, if you are driving and you commit a minor violation, and if you are stopped without a driver's license, that police is going to arrest you. First time, first offense, 2 to 10 days in jail, $500 to $1,000 fine, and if it's the fourth time that you are caught without driving without a license, this will be considered as a felony. Therefore, they will be calling ICE on you. This kind of the laws, among other, not only the federal government, but as well the local legislation that has changed the life of many of us. HB2 that prohibits many of us to go to school and study English if, unfortunately, you don't have a driver's license. We have as well the problem with the SB 529 that blocked for our trainers, our students to go to the university, and of course, or going for paying our state tuition. And now we have last year the SB 160 that talks about that the passports are no longer valid as a way of ID. This is just a big net of anti-immigrant sentiment coming from President Barack Obama with all these programs coming down SB, as mentioned to you, SB 160, HB2, SB 250, HB2, and many others that it is a mess.
It's a long list.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that is so unfair, here in Georgia is that, we aspire to be like, this anti-immigrant, states, such as Arizona, such as Alabama, South Carolina. And I think that makes us even worse, to be like the worst states in the United States for immigrants. Rather than, why not, aspire to be like other states, New York, moving into a time of relief for immigrants, where they can work and they can, live, a better life. That's eventually the ultimate goal of every immigrant. And I guess just connecting all these policies and all these, other laws here in Georgia, I think that we're in a pretty bad place. But, I think, we came before these laws, and these laws were implemented up to us, either to complicate our lives, or to, like they say, end this invasion. And I want to pass it on to Lucino. Lucino is a student. He's a Freedom University student, and he's gonna speak about what is Freedom University and how Freedom University started here in Georgia.
First of all, I want to share my story about how I was one step away from being deported. And first of all, I want to thank everybody for taking a minute for your time to be here, because sharing our story is very important, so you can spread the news, family members, whoever you have. So in 2012, at the end of 2012, I was driving a car, a business car. I was with him, and I was on my way home when I got stopped by a police officer. So the first thing that came to my mind, it was running away, because I didn't have a license. I thought I was going to be taken to jail. So my cousin said, "Don't run, just let the police take you, and we're going to take you out." So the police arrested me. They took me to Atlanta City Jail. So I was there for one day, and after the day was ended, they transferred me to Clayton County. And I was like, "Why did they transfer me to Clayton County?" And I asked the person, and they were like, "You have a hold for Clayton County because in 2010 you had a citation which you didn't attend to court." But I was like, I called like for a year, like I was like every 3 months I was calling if I had a court, but they never told me nothing. So when I was in Clayton County, I mean, that was one of the worst experiences I've been through. I mean, I talked to several like Hispanic people, And it's a shame how they was arrested. For example, I talked to this person. He was indigenous person from Chiapas, and he said he was just arrested for looking for a job. He went to Home Depot and looked for a job, and this Puerto Rican guy, he came in a car like an excursion, and he took him directly to the cops, like to the police. So it hurt me so much seeing those type of things happening. So it was like I met like six people, like they didn't even have like a major felonies or nothing like that, and they were just arrested. It's a shame what those laws have done here in Georgia. So after that, I called my sister, and they paid the bond in Atlanta City. Then they went and paid the bond at Clayton County. And next thing I know, they put me in hold for immigration. I was like, wow, this is my first time being arrested, and it was the third day in Clayton County. So I was desperate because it was my first time in jail and seeing all these things happen inside, how you eat like the food, I didn't like it. It was gross, like. And next thing I know, it was the fifth day. They took me to immigration, which is downtown, and I was one step away from being deported. Uh, I was just basically so sad that I didn't know what to do. I told my sister, do whatever you can, call in a lawyer. And I have a friend who's a lawyer, and he was helping me with my DACA process. So I was like, I told them I am applying for the fair action. And they were like, well, you better tell someone to fax your diploma in 15 minutes. If they don't fax it in 15 minutes, you're going to be here, you're going to be deported. We're going to set you up and process you so you can be deported. So I was sad because in 2006, my dad was deported. So I didn't want to live like back to Mexico and leave everything behind. So it was sad for me. I mean, I am thankful because thanks to the diploma that I have and applying for the fair action, I was deported. There were people who were like basically crying there because they didn't want to leave their sons or like their family behind. I mean, I'm a very like social person. I talked to everyone who was there, and I even gave my shirt to a person who was going to be deported, who came from the federal jail, because once you step into Mexico, I mean, they're like you in danger. Once you step to the like the border, like for example, Nogales or whatever city you're going to, because like with the drug cartels and everything. So I was afraid of that, and it was, I mean, it shocked me. That experience I have in my mind, one of the worst days that I ever happened to me. And now let me talk more about Freedom U. I am thankful that I'm in Freedom U because it has helped me a lot. The professors are wonderful. I mean, I have been involved in so many things thanks to the professors. They have helped me to apply to some colleges. They have paid for me, like for to take the ACT, SAT, and nobody provides that here in Georgia except Freedom U. So Freedom U started with UGA professors. They founded in 2011, and they started because undocumented students like me, they were banned from UGA, I mean, from the five top colleges here in Georgia. So it's sad because imagine being banned from like I mean, the five top colleges in here. So imagine if you want to attend UGA, you won't be able to attend it because you were banned. There were students, 31 students who were banned from the five top colleges. So it's sad because we just want to have a better life. We just want to go to college just like a regular citizen. We just want to help our families. We come from different countries. Some of us have been growing here in the U.S. for almost all our lives. This is the country we only know. So they were banned for those top colleges.
and systems that are breaking down in the Atlanta immigration court that is creating an even further backlog. Don't give individuals who want a credible fear interview, those that are seeking asylum, we should be able to be told within 10 days if they have credible fear that led them to leave their country, but instead keep them detained for up to 4 months to just determine without due process if they're afraid of going back to a country where they may be detained without due process. I mean, this is the irony of what's happening in our country, that the very things that many people are fleeing from, we we subject them to in the name of profit and in the name of social control. But what I want to do instead is talk about that whole pipeline. Like, how is it that we have developed this whole system of detention without due process? When I say without due process, I'm talking about the simple things that if you are an immigrant who's detained in any of the ways that we talked about, you don't have a right to an attorney. That right does not exist. And how is it that we have developed this system that in Georgia we can have our own little Guantanamito in Stewart Detention Center and in Irwin County Detention Center and in McRae and in Atlanta City Detention Center, and we don't even bat an eye, as a collective force. And I think that a lot of that is because we are finding it difficult to realize all the dots that need to be connected. And we also fail to realize as a collective society kind of the frog in the kettle syndrome, that if we look over this long span of time, as we heard that in 2001 we were fighting for driver's licenses, now it's a felony in the state of Georgia to drive without a license. We look at it in a short period of time how much we have criminalized the immigrant. So I'm dealing with just everyday relationships, and this is what I think is just so vital. That while we need to collectively know these federal and policies and these state laws, and we need to be publicly resisting against those, resistance means that we also need to be rooted in relationships with those who are directly impacted at the local level. And we need to be resisting even at the local level. And so today, here's what was on my plate today. On my plate today was accompanying a family with 5 children. What's the significance of these 5 children? Well, 10 years ago, a woman in my town had her utilities cut off. And then was told she could not have her utilities turned back on because after 9/11, the municipality where I live changed its policy and said you need a social security number to get utilities. And they said that after 9/11, they wanted to know who was in our community. Well, now, the mother of these 5 children, because the husband was detained and then deported, which not only was a separation of families, but led to the spiraling of this now forcibly single mother into homelessness. When she tried to obtain access to utilities through E-Verify or some type of verification system that the city uses, her ID that she presented came back as fraudulent. And she was arrested and charged and convicted of a felony of trying to get access to water to her children. And she sits in a state prison with a 3-year sentence, first time convicted. The prosecutor acknowledged that if she had been a U.S. citizen, they would have considered probation, but wanted to send a message and ensure that she would not only just be back on the streets, but that she would get deported. And so her children live in a precarious situation with a well-intentioned friend, but always this close to being in our foster care system. And it's a continual struggle to help meet their needs while the mother is incarcerated, much less not even yet in an immigration detention. That's one case that I was working with today. Another is of 2 siblings. One 8 years old, the other 17 years old. Came to the United States recently, within the past month, from Central America by themselves. Unaccompanied migrants. Mother here in our local community. The 17-year-old responsible for the 8-year-old. We're seeing a significant spike in the state of Georgia of unaccompanied immigrant minors coming to our state. Many times they present themselves directly to immigration officials at the border. And that's what these 2 children did. And they were sent to Chicago to a children's shelter. And then finally united with their mother. We were able to get the 8-year-old enrolled in school, and we have yet been able to get the 17-year-old enrolled. Although no one can tell me a policy that refutes what I find, which says that anyone 17 and under has a right to enroll in a public school. but because she's 1 month away from turning 18 and has limited English proficiency, they're reluctant, saying, listen, what's the point? This is what I was told today. Why does she want to enroll in school when it is highly unlikely that she'll ever finish? She has a right to an education, and do you need another reason? But this is the pipeline. What option does she have? She presented herself to immigration. If she is not in school, it's going to be really hard for her to fight her case to be in here, much less to just exercise her right to an education. And I said, are you wanting to push a young woman of color into the margins when she has a right? What motivation do you have? They asked me, what motivation does she have? I would turn the question, what motivations do we have to deny a young woman of color the right to a public education? The third case that I was dealing with is of a man who was driving without a license. This is over a year ago, well over a year ago. Was allowed to be released on bond as his teenage daughter has a heart condition and his wife has a serious terminal illness. He didn't have any legal representation as he went through court proceedings, or had insufficient, I can't recall. Received an order of deportation. For the best interest of his family, he decided to ignore that. And recently, he has been detained again for driving. What do you do? How do we, as a society, as a nation, look this man in the eyes and say, you didn't get good representation? The odds are stacked against you in immigration court. Your wife has a medical condition that she must have treatment for. Your daughter has a very precarious medical situation. But you have a deportation, and a judge has already made that decision. We need to see how our state policies, and even how our local policies, and so I gave examples of state laws that criminalize immigrants, of school policies that leave immigrants with very little choices, and of even local municipal policies like the access to utilities. And unless we are that close to the relationships with these individuals, how can we ever organize so as to resist them?
I just want to mention a few other, experiences and situations that I've been in, because of, this unfair immigration laws here in Georgia. And one of them is actually, this past 2 days ago, I was at the University of Georgia. And as you know, the University of Georgia is one of the places that if you are undocumented, even if you have been living here in Georgia your entire life, you cannot attend this university simply because you don't have a 9-digit number. And I was there, and we were in a panel, and as I was meeting the people in there. One of them, she said that she has a 4.0. She has a 4.0 GPA. She has been an outstanding student throughout her high school career. She lives right next to the University of Georgia. She has been attending leadership clubs, leadership programs organized by the University of Georgia. Yet, she did not apply to this university. And she didn't know that. She didn't know that she was banned from this university. And she had been working so hard her entire high school career to go there, to be able to apply, just like thousands of others. Georgia, yes, Georgia has been a very bad state, but there's others, around us. South Carolina, Alabama, Arizona. South Carolina currently bans undocumented students from its entire university system. In Georgia, it's only 5. South Carolina, it's the entire university system. If you're undocumented, you cannot go. Alabama, it bans undocumented students from the entire community college system. And then again, like the pipeline. So even though you can apply to, these universities, not community colleges in Alabama, but top universities, how are you going to pay for them if you still have to pay out-of-state tuition? And it's not even out-of-state tuition; it's international student fees, up to 5 times more than the people that you grew up with. And that's something that we see every day. Mothers and fathers being detained because they don't have a license. Well, how could they ever hope to get a license with these laws? Students that are not able to attend the dream universities when they have high achievements. From one day you go from a classroom to a detention center. I met another guy, Javier. He was attending the same high school which I was attending. And I found out that one day he was having a fight with just a silly fight with his friend. And they were hitting each other. And the police officer, he came up to them. And he arrested them, both of them. And he took them to jail. 2 days later, Javier found himself in an immigration detention center, ready to be deported. He had been here 19 years. 17 years. He didn't know any other country. He didn't even speak any other language anymore. Yet, he was going to be deported. And it was the community that stopped him. It was the community that has stopped, this monster over and over again. This monster that separates families. And as we speak, there's someone that has been detained. There is someone that is in deportation proceedings. A student that was taken away from the classroom to be placed in a detention. And like Anton said, what's the first step? We have to realize what's happening around us. We have to know what's happening in our communities and what we can do to stop it. People are being denied of things like water because they don't have the 9-inch comfort. That's what it comes down to. People are denied of education, like the young lady Anton mentioned, because she doesn't have a 9-inch number. And we have to connect it to even a broader image. I think that we are forgetting our history. We are celebrating 60 years of the anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education. That basically said everyone should have an education, regardless of everything, regardless of your race. But I think that we need to make another case where we can say that everyone should have an education regardless of immigration status. And the list, the experiences, the stories go on and on. And I'm sure every single one of you has a story that wants to share. Every one of you has been stopped, maybe by a police officer. What happens when you see those lights, blue lights, behind you? ¿Qué es lo que pasa cuando ven esas luces azules atrás de ustedes? Estudiantes, madres, padres, people that is coming from work, from church, is being detained. What are these laws telling us? That we have no right to have a better future.